Hello, 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 friends. Welcome to a new episode of the Problematic FMC podcast. Today, I am going to dive into a topic that we've all heard a lot about in the news: artificial intelligence, also known as AI. I've been wondering how AI will impact the reading life, and I'm growing worried as more and more parts of book production become automated. Could AI mean the death of creativity? Let's get into the show. Before I jump into the topic, I want to share 3 books I read recently that I'm fairly certain, or as certain as one can be, were written by human people. The first I'm bringing today is Tale of the Heart Queen by Nisha J. Tooley. This is book 4 of 4 in a soon-to-be-completed fantasy romance series, The Artifacts of Aranos. Here's a short synopsis of book 1. After 12 years in a prison camp, Lore suddenly finds herself released, but not freed. Instead, she is forced into competing in the Sun Queen trials. If she wins, she will marry the dashing Sun King and be able to free her siblings, who are still imprisoned. However, the losing contestants either die in the terrifying trials, or become a concubine and servant with no rights. Lore also knows that, based on her family's past, whoever brought her out of prison and to this castle must not have pure motives. This was such a fun series. It has high fae and a realm structure that fans of Sarah J. Maas will be familiar with. Lore is a strong, if haunted, main character, and I loved getting to cheer for her. The love story is slower burn across the series, but very steamy and satisfying once established. In my opinion, this plot wasn't quite as surprising or elaborate as in some of my favorite fantasy books, and I felt that the side characters could have been fleshed out a bit more. But I really enjoyed all 4 books. The first one is 400 pages, and they gradually grow in length, with the last and longest one being 670 pages. The first one was published in 2023, and the last one will be published November 26th, 2024. I normally would see books coming out so fast as a red flag, but I'm fairly certain she has had these written for a while before publication. I did not get the sense that they were rushed through. That was the Artifacts of Aranos series by Nisha J. Tooley. The second book I read recently is Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This is a small-town, steamy romance. Bree leaves the big city in hopes of escaping the demons of very traumatic events in her past. She ends up in a small tourist lake town in Maine that she visited with her family as a kid, where she runs into Archer Hale, the town recluse, and has an instant connection with him. But they both have very complicated pasts to work through. This is the 4th book I've read from Mia Sheridan, and every single one has tugged on my heartstrings. The love stories are so sweet, sometimes to the point of unbelievability. But we don't come to fiction for real life, and I always find her characters to be so endearing. This is the first in the Where Love Meets Destiny series, but from browsing some of her other titles, I think several of her other books outside the series tie together some loose ends that were set up in this book. That makes this a great place to start if you're interested in jumping into Mia Sheridan's backlist. I would recommend her to anyone looking for big feels and a man with golden retriever energy. This one is 338 pages, published in 2014, and it has an average of 4.21 stars on Goodreads. That was Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. The third book I have to share is The Vacationers by Emma Straub. When the Post family departs for a 2-week vacation to Majorca, Spain, it seems like everything is falling apart. Jim, the father, has just retired, but under less than favorable circumstances. Franny, his wife, is searching for her next writing project, but can't seem to find inspiration. Their older child, Bobby, brings along his longtime girlfriend, which no one is happy about, least of all the girlfriend. Family friends Charles and Lawrence, after 5 years of marriage to each other, will possibly be selected to adopt a baby. And Sylvia, the younger daughter, leaves for college in a few months, and really couldn't care less about this trip. Well, maybe she can care a little bit about Joan, the hunky local that her mother hired to teach her Spanish. This short family drama is fun, if forgettable. It has a great setting for summer, with secluded beaches and sizzling tension. And angst is suffered all around by both the young and the older characters. Reviews on Goodreads are mixed, with an average of 3.15 stars. I think the lower ratings come from the novel not having decided if it's literary or commercial. Readers looking for a lighter story complained about unlikable characters, which I, a problematic FMC myself, didn't really mind. Highbrow reviewers, while admitting it was reasonably well written, complained that the plot suffered, and I agree that there wasn't really one. Throughout the story, I struggled to discern any of the characters' goals, and that for me really stood in the way of cheering for them more than their relatable human attributes. I would hand this book to someone looking for a bite-sized, messy family drama with a sexy Mediterranean backdrop. I actually would pick up another book from this author. I would just know what I'm getting into. This one is 292 pages, published in 2014. Again, that is The Vacationers by Emma Straub. To kick off today's topic, I'm going to provide a basic overview of AI in the book publishing industry. Machine learning technology has revolutionized the world we live, work, and read in. Both book consumers and producers use AI to serve their needs, but also fear the future of the book world as AI evolves. Many people would be surprised at how long AI has been around, since the term actually encompasses a lot of the tools we work with every day. Artificial intelligence simply means machines that mimic a human's ability to learn and make decisions. Anyone using a search engine, a word processor, social media algorithms, or a navigation GPS are harnessing the power of AI, albeit more rudimentary versions than the groundbreaking tools we're seeing in headlines. The average American has actually used AI every day for the past decade. However, the capabilities of these systems have expanded faster than most people were ready for. In November of 2022, ChatGPT launched, putting the technology that seemed like a sci-fi movie only 5 to 10 years ago in the hands of every casual internet user. This understandably terrifies a lot of people, especially fiction readers who often have a highly developed skill of imagining realities that don't exist at the moment, but could in the future. And we have a tendency to overthink. I know that's not just me. For many overactive imaginations, the jump from ChatGPT to sci-fi scenes of robots gaining consciousness and burning down cities is not that big of a leap. But readers are not just adept at imagining alternate realities. We also rely on books and the written word as a way to connect with other people. George Eliot, the author, famously said, "The only effect I ardently long to produce by my writings is that those who read them should be better able to imagine and to feel the pains and the joys of those who differ from them in everything but the broad fact of being struggling, erring human creatures." AI threatens this by putting algorithms in the place of authentic expression. When I put out a call for thoughts on AI to the online Bookish community, @JIP Loves to Read on Instagram responded to me saying that artificial intelligence puts us at risk of, quote, losing the heart and soul behind the author's reason for writing the story to begin with, end quote. I want to start by sharing some of the good, because artificial intelligence does have real potential to help us enrich our reading lives. Educators lean on AI-powered tools to improve reading comprehension and writing skills. For example, AI can craft lesson plans and examinations that target specific learning objectives. This produces more effective pedagogy while also allowing teachers to spend less time on the administrative tasks and more time serving students face-to-face. AI can also evaluate student responses to a writing prompt in real time, allowing them to adjust and learn at a speed that works for them. On the flip side, students frequently use AI chat tools to summarize content instead of reading it in its entirety, allowing them to skip out on important reading assignments. For the recreational reader, AI is a great source for book recommendations. With ChatGPT or similar chat programs, readers can locate titles based on their niche interests and from obscure translations or editions. This allows representation for backlist or lesser-known titles. Many platforms readers already use are starting to plug in features that learn by interacting with human feedback. For example, on August 7th, 2024, Audible introduced Maven, an AI chatbot that converses with readers to suggest products tailored to the listener's preferences. AI's summarization abilities can also offer readers a quick overview of many users' ratings. This feature is currently live in Amazon's reviews. Let's look at AI's summary of Amazon purchasers' reviews of Outlander, a pretty backlist book that has lots of readers' reviews over a long period of time for the robo-summarizer to sort through. Amazon's AI says, quote, "Customers find the content erudite, unique, and different. They also appreciate the writing style as deft and smooth. Readers describe the storyline as captivating, timeless, and not relentless. They find the entertainment value interesting, dedicated, and fun. They describe the characters as great and the romance as engaging. However, some find the pacing too slow and grungy. Opinions differ on the plot, with some finding it page-turning and difficult, while others say it's upsetting." End quote. That blurb is not reading naturally as if a human wrote it. However, having it at the top of reviews can save shoppers time, rather than having to sort through years and years of user feedback to decide if it's something that would suit their tastes. However, one could argue that summaries generated by a computer likely strip important context and nuance that only a human who actually reads the material could provide. I also worry about its ability to filter out spoilers. And if you were cynical, you might wonder if corporations would manipulate the algorithms to skew the summaries to discriminate against certain groups or ideologies. So there's some good and bad as far as AI's influence over the consumption of books. But readers in general are most skeptical about AI's role in the production of books. At Read with Luciana on Instagram gave me her thoughts on the issue, saying, quote, "The creativity of human authors will be so limited. They will depend on AI, not their imagination. If AI will help you, what will be unique about every author?" End quote. Specifically, readers like Luciana are concerned about a specialized technology called generative AI. Generative AI refers to a system that creates something new out of a data pool. Large language models, or LLMs, can create new text by recycling data it finds elsewhere. A less than honest author would type a prompt into one of the models, then copy and paste the result into their manuscript. For example, write me a poem about honeybees in the style of Mickey Mouse. While unethical for use in a book of poetry, I highly recommend this prompt if you're in need of a good chuckle. The most obvious fear with generative AI is that authors will have AI write their manuscripts, then pass off the work as their own. Some booksellers have used this as an entire business model, such as BookBud.ai, which exclusively offers AI-generated works. Amazon has tried to put a cap on the distribution of AI-generated ebooks by limiting self-published authors to releasing no more than 3 books per day. If you ask me, that's still ridiculously lenient, when most human-made books take over a year to write. If you're thinking that this all sounds illegal, you would be right. Mostly. Legislators have done some racing ahead to curb this, and in the US, AI-generated content cannot be federally copyrighted. There are some loopholes, though. If the creator had a role in training the AI model, or if they purchased a license to use the program, they may become eligible for copyright protections. Legal or not, publishers have staunchly opposed text made from LLMs, and have started using AI detection tools that, hopefully, can tell when something was created by a computer. But these are far from perfect. As generative AI evolves, the detection tools, which, oh, by the way, are built from AI themselves, must keep pace. It's a case of the medicine not being able to outrun the disease. These tools can also unfairly target non-native speakers or translated works because AI is more likely to give false positives on these works. accusing them of being AI generated when they're really authentic, since they might not have the cadence of someone who wrote the material in their most comfortable tongue. In reality, though, an author using AI does not necessarily mean that a chatbot wrote their entire manuscript. There's quite a spectrum of ways that AI can support the writing process, from brainstorming plot arcs to thinking about character traits that capture voice or background different from the author's experiences. Even if AI did write an entire book, it would still require a lot of crafting of the prompts that are given to the AI program to get the desired output. You may argue that it takes so much skill, patience, and ingenuity to manipulate the output, making it its own kind of art form. But it's still not words going from brain to paper. How prominent is this? Statistica reported in May of 2023 that 47% of authors use AI as a grammar tool, so nearly half. Other uses trend down from there. 29%, slightly less than a third, use AI for brainstorming plot and characters, and 26% use it in marketing, but I wonder at that number. Many probably do not realize that AI works on the back end of social media and storefront tools. 14% use it to structure or organize drafts. 7% of authors sampled reported using AI to generate the text of their work. That's about 1 in 14. It's actually more than I expected. And of course, this is all self-reported data, and many authors who use AI might not want to admit to using it, or again, might not even be aware that it is integrated into the tools they use. Generative AI can create more than just text. It can also create images, leading to controversies around book covers. Most leading design software, such as Adobe Illustrator, now includes text-to-vector graphic programs where you type in a prompt and it creates artwork. For example, corgi riding a bicycle while wearing a toupee. Hit enter, then you get the most adorable photo. I'm not sure what type of book that would be on the cover of, but I am sure I would read it. In theory, publishers oppose AI-designed book covers. However, detecting them seems to be just as difficult as detecting AI elements in text. For example, since 2022, Tor Books has received criticism online for allegedly using stock images created by AI for cover art. Sarah J. Maas's House of Earth and Blood has also been questioned for the origin of the wolf art on the cover. In these mainstream cases I've read about, it wasn't the cover designers themselves creating graphics from AI, but they pulled in stock images that they did not realize were created by AI. Generative AI can also create audio, and many audiobook producers, like Apple Books, are exploring using AI voices as narrators. Think Siri reading you Pride and Prejudice, but much more human. An untrained ear will likely not be able to detect whether it's a human recording or a virtual voice. Now I know what you're thinking. Are you listening to a robot right now? I'm not sure how to convince you I'm human. I guess you'll just have to take my word for it. Kindle Direct Publishing, hosted by Amazon, allows authors to convert their ebooks into audiobooks with a synthetic voice. Within 1 year of launching this program, Audible offered over 40,000 of these AI-narrated audiobooks, all of which are labeled as AI-generated so that listeners know what they're downloading. I use text-to-speech technology as an e-learning designer, and to be honest with you, I found it frustratingly slow to learn pronunciations. For cases like fantasy books, where authors often use one-of-a-kind names, I imagine audiobook creators might not find that AI saves them a whole lot of time. U.S. publishers seem most willing to embrace AI narrators for non-English works, where a native speaker might be more difficult to reach. Many readers seek out these books to help them learn the language or to compare with the translated version. A non-human narrator might make these audiobook consumers more hesitant, further widening the gap that non-English books have to overcome in American markets. On the whole, it is important to remember that AI cannot create anything truly new. It's only imitating, reworking, or combining the materials in its database, materials that human brains at some point in history dreamed up. This means that a creator who leverages AI not only distributes unoriginal content, but also uses pieces of a work without the original creator's permission. This means that writers, designers, and narrators not only fear the technology replacing them, but that the technology would replace them by repurposing their old work under new names. This all begs the question, will a time come when consumers desire work that is genuinely original? True creativity, the creation of ideas, never before visited fictional worlds, and brain-bending plot twists will always be a uniquely human skill. As intelligent as it may be, AI actually cannot learn something without programming from a human or the adding of new data. Maybe this is naive of me to say, but I really think that the kind of people attracted to writing successful fiction, the imaginative people with ideas shaped by their unique experiences, are the kind of people who would be the most averse to letting technology do their creative legwork. A computer will never be able to replicate the voice and tone, be it in the spoken or written word. This is especially impactful in works like memoirs or poetry, where the uniqueness of the story is the main value of the work. There are so many emotions underlying the words that a computer could never capture. One example that comes to mind is Jeanette McCurdy's narration of her own memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died. Those who listened on audio will remember her voice breaking when telling one of her stories. I'll never forget cooking dinner while listening to that and setting down a pot because I was so moved by her vulnerability. I hope that publishers are in touch with their audiences enough to know that dehumanizing stories removes the very thing readers came to that work to find. Raw emotions straight from the mouths or pens of the humans who lived through the events being described. AI has even further reaching potential than just getting print on a page. Even if an author crafts something completely new from scratch, AI will likely have a role in getting that manuscript turned into a physical product distributed to the masses. For example, editing software has evolved to not only correct grammar and style, crossing the T's and dotting the I's, but also to adjust tone, readability, and story structure. It is far from perfect, though. Editors report AI being very good at correcting plot holes on a large scale, based on its analysis of other works, but it does very little to adjust to a unique voice or to the flow of a story within a single work. So it is the lower skilled tasks that are being automated. This worries me that if any editors will be replaced, it's the entry-level employees who are doing that first rough check. These are the people just trying to get their foot in the door. Long-standing editors who have relationships with authors and experience adapting to their voice will be almost impossible for technology to replace. But it will be more difficult for new graduates to work their way up to that standing. Publishers also heavily rely on AI to analyze market trends of everything from narrative themes to character names to cover designs that resonate with audiences. Even if a human painted every stroke of a book cover, there might still have been a researcher who used AI to determine that the particular thing on that cover with those colors or those fonts is what's most likely to sell. Once all words and designs are final, artificial intelligence continues to assist publishers with the manufacturing. Through machine learning, AI has improved preventative maintenance of equipment, supply chain optimization, and scheduling. In conclusion, AI does have a lot of potential to improve the lives of readers, from helping students become stronger readers earlier in life, to providing more targeted book recommendations, to summarizing reviews to help shoppers make more informed decisions. Many writers and publishers have harnessed AI as a tool for planning, researching, marketing, designing, manufacturing, and much more. While many jobs are threatened by technology's advances, I have a hard time imagining the complete removal of the human touch, especially in fields like literature, where creativity and empathy for people with unique experiences is such a large part of the work's value. What do you think? Does the rise of AI make you distrust publishers or book distributors? Have you used AI to better your reading life in any way? Head over to my Instagram @problematicfmc and let me know what you think. And for this week's Would You Rather question, would you rather find out that your favorite author is actually a robot and has been using AI to write all of their books, or have to live without your phone for a year? Which would you choose? For me, I think I would rather find out my favorite author is actually not a real person. I think only modern day authors that are living in our current time make sense for this question, because to find out someone like Jane Austen or Charlotte Bronte, or my all-time favorite author, C.S. Lewis, were actually robots leads into some sci-fi history rewriting, so I'm going to choose a current author, Sarah J. Maas. And if I found out she was a robot, all of her books would be so cheapened for me. It would mean realizing that all of her worlds and characters were just hodgepodges of other books that a computer somewhere thought would resonate with my demographic. But I could not go without my phone. From the time I wake up in the morning as my alarm clock, to using my to-do list throughout the day, meal planning, money budgeting, connecting with the world, Instagram and TikTok, losing my phone would have a much bigger impact on my life. But what would you say? Go comment your thoughts. And that is all for this week. Again, head on over to Instagram at problematicfmc to say hi. And could you give this show some 5-star love? Until next time, keep flipping those pages. Bye!